I cold called my way into ownership of an English football club. My name is Kyle, and today I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about some news here in the States. A couple days ago, the Boston Celtics broke the record for the most valuable team of all time, sold for about $6.1 billion to a private equity firm, and that tops the recent sale of the Washington Commanders NFL franchise that was sold for about $6.05 billion. The Boston Celtics were originally purchased in 2002 for about $360 million, so we're looking at about a little bit less than a 14% yearly return on that, which I think is pretty good. However, I'm very curious on if this is going to kickstart a trend of every team in the States, regardless of league, just being bought for more than whatever the previous franchise was sold for. Now, there is a bit of an outlier here. The Boston Celtics are the most storied NBA franchise of all time in terms of titles, with 18, just one ahead of the Lakers at 17. So I know that there's, a story and a history about the Boston Celtics that probably sets it apart from most other franchises, regardless of sport. However, we do also have some recent examples of teams that were sold and then the future team was sold for less. So in 2012, the LA Dodgers were sold for $2.15 billion. A couple years later, the LA Clippers were sold for about $2 billion. And then in 2022, the Denver Broncos were sold for $4.65 billion. A year later, the Phoenix Suns Mercury franchise was sold for about $4 billion. So again, we have recent examples of where that trend isn't exactly happening, but I do think that this could kickstart the trend of people that want to sell their teams say, look, I want more than whatever the previous franchise sold for. Granted, there's a lot of different leagues and implications and histories behind these teams. If a really small market team was available as soon as tomorrow, I don't know if it would get $6.15 billion, but I think this could potentially lead to that trend, and I'm very curious to see if you guys agree.